Hey, ¿qué pasa, bandita? Soy Gato Plays y estamos en un video reaccionando a Goku Black versus Reverse Flash. A ver qué sale. O sea, yo apuesto por Reverse Flash, debería ganar, pero me gustaría que ganara Black, la verdad, si le soy sincero. Ok, Gato Clowns, por favor, si se escucha bien. Ok, Gato Clowns, si se escucha bien, por favor, O si se escucha muy alto. Ok, ok, Gato Clown. Armor and skills. Ok, perfecto. Vamos con Black, A ver, es que si se muere Black no me agüitaría, porque su saga no me gustó nada. No me gustó nada su saga. El Supremo Kaio. Ok. Es que su historia de origen sí está bien, güey. Pero ya después como le ejecutaron está muy fea, güey. Está muy feo. Ay, el perrito. El perrito. ¿Quién no se agüitó con la muerte de ese perrito, güey? Ok. Goku le gana a todos.
Their clash nearly destroyed the entirety of Universe 7, a cosmological structure at least 9 times larger than our own universe.
Simón.
At most, it could even be as large as 13 times greater than ours.
Okay. Como más, como más 13 veces más grande. Yo creo que le van a dar el beneficio de la duda.
Goku was tapping into his Super Saiyan God form for this, though clearly not at its full strength. While the exact multiplier for Super Saiyan Blue is unknown, Toriyama himself has directly compared it
no se ve ahí el cuadro de texto, pero dice que tiene ese poder en forma base.
Before Zamasu caught up with him, so by that time he was way stronger. Here was a mortal with the powers of gods beyond even Zamasu's abilities. Someone who could bring his dreams to fruition. So Sammy did what anyone would do in that situation: kill his master to become the Supreme Kai, switch on the Super Dragon Balls to switch bodies with Goku.
Es que la historia está muy chida, güey. Además está Trunks del futuro, güey. ¿A quién no le gusta Trunks del futuro?
Goku Black? You couldn't be more creative.
No, you might be
pero Bulma, fuiste tú quien le dio nombre.
That wouldn't be as fun, would it? Black's got all of Goku's strength and powers, but wielded by a genocidal maniac instead of that lovable goober.
Ok, le gusta el té. ¿Puercos voladores, decía?
Black can easily achieve the form of Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan.
Bien.
Painful twist. Super Saiyan Rosé.
Rosé.
Really? What is he, a suburban wine mom? Watch out before he unlocks Super Saiyan Live Laugh Love. He stole Goku's techniques too, like the instant transmission.
Hicieron lo de la Karen.
Person's key signature to teleport to their location.
Y aquí, perfecto.
Kamehameha.
Hola, a ver, ¿qué tanto canjearon, güey? Saludos, wow. Voy a tomar agüita y estamos viendo de por
He just becomes harder and harder to kill. Which really sucks for the rest of the universe, because Black is kind of like if Goku just snapped one day and used his powers to their full murderous potential.
Simona.
Like the God Split cut,
Pues Goku si no se hubiera golpeado la cabeza.
To slice you to ribbons. He used this very technique to kill Goku's family. He can even extend this Keyblade into a huge curved one called the Azure Dragon Sword, which, along with his Kamehameha, confirms my suspicions that Goku is colorblind. Actually, Black's Azure Dragon Sword is named after a legendary weapon wielded by one of Earth's greatest warriors, the Desert Bandit Yamcha. Wait, what? And he can make a sign and open space-time itself to create a bunch of shadow clones.
De hecho, Yamcha le gana.
Not Crater Boy over here, but his most dastardly weapon isn't a key technique at all. It's the time ring he got from his dead master. This ring allowed Black to travel through time.
Ojo.
It even escaped into future Trunks' alternate timeline, where he had free reign over the entire universe. And let him team up with his best bud, himself. Too bad Goku and company showed up to spoil the fun.
Amigo encontré y soy yo.
Zamasu in Goku's body? How are there two Gokus? There's only one Goku in the multiverse, right? But Goku met Black before he met Zamasu, which
means Black existed before Zamasu came up with the idea. And then they killed Zamasu before he could do it anyway, but Goku Black was still around?
Sí,
What the hell
está
is
muy
going
confuso
on?
eso, está muy
Sure, it's a
confuso.
classic grandfather's paradox. The thing is, Black's time ring prevents
paradoja
him
del
from being
abuelo.
affected by alterations to his own personal timeline. So, killing him in the past doesn't change his future.
A huevo,
and
¿vieron?
vice versa.
Atemporal,
He's almost
papu.
impossible to kill because
No le
even if
sirve
you
el
do it at
time,
one
huh?
point in time, he still exists at another point in time. And another. And another. And another.
Pero tampoco sirve con reverse porque igualmente es una paradoja.
Black has crushed Saiyans like Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks. Hell, even Vegito couldn't beat him. He even merged with the universe to become one with everything. Like I said, me
Le van a
and Final
dar.
Fantasy villain vibes here.
It took Zeno, the Omni King, the most powerful being in all
Le van a dar,
creation,
somos
to
infinito,
step in
güey.
and erase that entire timeline just to stop Black's rampage. How ironic. Zamasu's higher calling was the eradication of all mortal life in the universe, and he stole the strongest mortal's body to do it. But in the end, he was always doomed to fail. His quest for power meant nothing against a being that would always be stronger no matter what he did or who he was.
And the
Me mamó las
universe
caras que
ended up
les
being
dibujaría.
destroyed anyway. It's like one big cosmic joke with no one left to laugh.
You've been running around making messes for too long, and now I'm going to choke the life from you. I can't wait to watch you die.
Ok, le dieron avance infinito,
Barry Allen, the Flash,
Yo nomás digo, o sea, lo dejo en la mesa.
is
Lo dejo
one
en la
of the greatest
mesa.
heroes in history,
Ustedes
an
evalúen.
inspiration to many across time and space.
Yo lo veo
And there's no
chingón.
better example than his #1 fan from the 25th century, Eobard Thawne.
Eobard.
We've
Che nombre
tackled
culero.
a lot of stupid names for things in our years here at Death Battle, but I'm confident that Eobard is the dumbest f***ing first name I've ever heard in my life.
Ok.
Eobard was
Yo
completely
estoy
obsessed with the Flash
de acuerdo.
and dedicated his whole life to studying the Speed Force like a total nerd. Good luck to him, because there's no way he's figuring that shit out.
But Thawne's life irrevocably changed.
Güey, es que la
the day
Speed
he
Force está bien
discovered
fumada,
a
güey.
time capsule from the 21st century.
¿Cómo
By
estudias esa
some
madre?
strange coincidence, it just so happened to contain Barry's costume. By experimenting on
casualidad.
it, Thawne managed to replicate the Flash's powers, turning himself into a mirror of his idol.
And you can bet he totally crapped himself when Barry Senpai showed up in the future and took him under his wing. It was a dream come true.
Until Barry realized that Thawne had fabricated crimes in order to show up and save the
Sí,
day.
eso está
Thawne
feo,
promised to
Eobard.
better himself before traveling to the
Eobard.
past to prove
Eobard.
his worth to his hero,
¿Cómo le dicen
to
ustedes?
prove that their bond was special.
That's when Thawne found out that Barry already had a best friend, and a family,
Ajá.
and a life. Without him, he didn't matter. He wasn't special. He was just a nobody Barry tossed out in the trash and
Sex
forgot
songs.
about. Like my Tinder dates do to me.
If only. When Thawne visited the Flash Museum in Barry's time, he discovered the secret identity
Sí,
of Flash's greatest enemy. That
me da un
in
poco de
his
pena la
future
historia
had
de
been lost
Reverso,
to
¿verdad?
time. The one Barry was fated to kill in battle. Eobard Thawne. Wait a minute.
A volar,
Ain't that a
madre.
bitch? The shock drove Thawne mad. If he couldn't be Flash's best friend, he'd be his greatest enemy.
Le gusta barrialen, barrialen, barrialen. Le desagrada barrialen, barrialen, barrialen.
Terrorized the Flash family in the
Joder, qué
past.
basado.
Revenge.
Qué buena agüita va.
He'd become the Reverse Flash.
Reverse Flash. We're really setting the world on
super
fire
paja.
with these names today, huh, Wiz?
Thawne draws his powers from the negative Speed Force, which he generates with every step he takes, just like Barry does with the regular Speed Force. The negative Speed Force gives Thawne access to many of the Flash's
Visibilidad,
powers,
intangibilidad,
including his mind-bending
relámpagos,
super speed, enough to
ok.
travel all across time and space in days. He can keep up with
absorción
the
del tiempo, ¿cómo
other
está eso?
speedsters like Barry and Wally.
¿Cómo está
Who
eso?
once ran fast enough to cross the universe faster than two gods who could teleport. Wally even beat himself in a race. Barry admitted Thawne was
¿Cómo te ganas a
faster
ti
than
mismo,
that.
güey?
Wait just a second, he beat himself? That doesn't even make sense.
But unlike Barry and Wally, Thawne applies his powers more
Ah, la música del trailer.
using them to their full potential without any care for collateral. Take, for instance, his ability to vibrate himself through solid objects.
Objects like, say, vital organs. And
Ajá.
if he did,
Es a lo que no se puede defender Black, así que.
Thawne did just that to Barry's wife,
A menos que
and Barry
somos
did
infinito.
not appreciate it.
Thawne's vibrations are so powerful, he can even produce a counterforce that can reverse the destruction of the entire universe.
Pretty crazy sounding, but even B-tier speedsters like Jenny Ognats can do the same kind of thing. And when Barry and Wally raced each other, they were tearing up the entire multiverse.
Thawne can create shockwaves with a snap, phase into your body and possess you, and even speak at such high speeds that you'll hear his words as though they were your own thoughts. And instead of stealing your speed like other Flashes, he can steal your time.
Yeah, Thawne can
lo va a hacer viejito. Ok, bueno, eso no debería ser problema porque los Saiyajin viven muchísimos años y pues Zamasu es un dios.
His greatest ability is his unmatched skill at time travel, and he uses this expertise to be as petty and cruel as humanly possible.
Thawne wasn't a dummy. He knew that if he went back in time to kill Barry before he got his powers, he'd erase himself from the time stream too. So instead, he'd just make Barry's life suck as hard as he could, push him down some stairs, retcon his best friend from history, kill his mom. He even told Barry he'd go back in time and adopt him as his own son. Dude, what the fuck?
Gracias por ese follow, bro.
Difference between Thawne and Barry. Whereas Barry only went back in time to save his mother's life, Thawne often went back in time to try to fix his own mediocre life. He killed his more successful younger brother, his career rival at the Flash Museum, and every single boyfriend his crush had until there was no one left but him.
And when she still rejected him, he went back in time again and made her an invalid for the rest of her life. Jesus Christ!
¿Cómo?
This guy's a monster.
No, mire.
Wait, Wiz, that's impossible. Grandpappy Paradox or whatever. If he went back in time to kill someone, they'd be dead in the future, which means
he'd never know them and want to go back in time in the first place, right?
Wiz, maybe time is a construct with no legitimate unit of measurement other than the meager attempts man has made to understand the incomprehensible world around him.
Well, actually, Thawne was just inside the time stream when Barry initiated Flashpoint, which rewrote the universe while Thawne was technically disconnected from it. So, Thawne essentially broke. Literally, figuratively, mentally, physically, temporally.
Or maybe he just hated Barry so much it defied the laws of time itself.
Eso está muy complicado.
More specifically, he became a living paradox, a being without a past or future, literally without continuity. Not only did this mean he'd be unaffected by changes to his past, it made him effectively immortal.
Stabbed in the chest by evil Batman, vaporized by Iris in some sweet, sweet payback, or getting Dr. Manhattaned by the big blue god dong himself. Thawne was always reborn, unable to stay dead.
But more than anything, it made him immune from consequences.
Sobrevivió semanas con una bala en la cabeza. ¿Tampoco le cuentan lo de las series?
He was impossible to stop with no reason to hold back.
He survived a hit from Barry while he had the entire Speed Force absorbed into him, and even Wally's infinite mass punch, which has the mass of a white dwarf star. A white dwarf is essentially the remains of a star's ultra-dense core, which has a mass of over 2 octillion tons.
And he took one of those to the noggin and just took a nap. Man, he must really hate Barry if a sun to the face can't take him down.
But he doesn't hate Barry. All of his schemes, all of his machinations, all of his insane timeline-shattering threats, all of it was because it was the only way he could think of to spend time with his hero.
Oh,
really sad.
Güey, es que pobrecito, sí. O sea, es un hijo de puta, pero me da pena.
He wanted to be the Kid Flash. All Thawne ever really desired was to be by Barry's side.
In the end, though, the little Two Shoes Barry forgave him, and then vibrated away his living paradox powers, erasing him from existence.
Though not entirely. Barry didn't kill Thawne, he reset his timeline, removing the one thing driving his hatred, his relationship with Barry. Without that, Thawne was a normal, happy Flash fan once again.
It's comics, Wiz. He'll be back. And when he does, they'll
Qué grande es Barry,
he'll always be faster.
Qué grande es Barry,
He'll always catch you. And time is always on his side.
Still think you can take me? Even death can't catch me.
Ni siquiera la muerte me puede atrapar.
All right, the combatants are
Okay.
set. We've run the data through all possibilities.
Está picosillo el asunto, ¿eh? Está picosillo el asunto. Ok, apuestas. A ver, ¿le dieron Zamasu infinito? Mencionaron el Flashpoint. Me da a mí que se lo va a counterear con Flashpoint, así que sigo creyendo que va a ganar Reverse Flash, pero si gana Black no me agüito, hasta celebro. O sea, quiero que gane Black, pero va a ganar Reverse, yo creo. Así que vamos a ver qué onda. Flash mató Quicksilver. Wow. Con la tacita de té, güey.
Mortals, sinners, prepare for divine justice.
Ok, eso es lo del sneak peek, ¿eh? Está brutal, güey. Está brutal, güey. Ok, hijo de puta, rompió la taza. Ya no dejan tomarte a gusto a uno, ¿eh?
Excuse me, sir. I'm in need of your services.
Eso está muy... Pobrecito. Ok, ahí se acaba el sneak peek. A ver qué onda, ¿eh? A ver cuánto se tarda en transformar el Black. Ok. Troleado. Ay, la espadita. Oh.
What do you think of this color? Is it not beautiful?
Ok. ¿LOL? ¿LOL? Ok, estuvo chido eso. Y se escamó, güey. Ok, va a aplicar la del time, ¿huh?
I'll end this fight before it even began. Death in reverse.
Magnificent.
Está chido eso, está chido, me mola. Sabía que iba a haber time. ¿No?
Mortals, sinners, prepare for divine.
Oh. Hola. Oh.
Why aren't you dead?
¿LOL? ¿LOL? Está muy bueno, güey. Uy, uy, uy. Uy, uy, uy. ¿Otra vez? ¿LOL? ¿Qué? ¿Otra vez? Mil maneras de morir, ¿no? Sí puso la estatua, güey. Sí puso la estatua. No sabía, güey. No sabía. No sabía, güey.
Look down upon creation itself. That is the work of a god.
Threats to a living paradox.
Me da a mí que no vas a ir de Somos Infinito. Oh.
Was that important?
Ah, Black. Oh, ok.
How fun.
Sí, tiene sentido. Tiene sentido.
This was a fairly tricky matchup to figure out, least of all for their incredible levels of power.
Black could destroy a universe like ours at least 660 times over.
Sí.
I mean, a punch at least as big as a star is really badass, but that's in another league.
However, there was a lot more to cover than just how many stars or universes they could blow up. At their peak, both Goku Black and Reverse Flash were so impressive they were removed from time itself, becoming living paradoxes, making any attempt to kill either of them meaningless.
Stupid time travel.
It's difficult to determine who would figure out a counter to this temporal invincibility first, but it would most likely rely on a combination of speed and smarts.
As far as
Y los
speed
tiene
goes,
reverso.
no surprise Thawne definitely had the edge.
Sí.
Black's attacks could reach speeds quintillions of times faster than light, but Thawne is a Flash.
Even early in his career as a member of the Flash family, Wally West could reach speeds that were impossible to comprehend and calculate.
Sí, inconmensurable
There
ya
are numerous
desde...
examples of this for multiple iterations of the Flash.
Desde hace un
many of
chingo,
whom
güey.
Thawne was clearly equal to.
Plus, he's kind of an expert when it comes to timey-wimey bullshit.
And he could likely overpower Black and destroy said time ring too. After all, Thawne once generated enough energy to counter the destruction of the entire DC universe, which is stated in comics to be at least 100 trillion light years in diameter. That's over 1 billion times larger than our own universe, and over 70 million times larger than Dragon Ball's Universe 7.
What?
It's sort of impossible to lock down the exact limits of Goku Black's upper strength without getting into lots of assumptions and guesswork. He's obviously strong.
Ok, yo creo que Goku vs Superman 3 ya no se me antoja.
Training and power boosts and multipliers. The gap here is way too wide to be able to just assume Goku Black could match this level of power. The DC universe is just too big. And remember, Barry and Wally's race almost ripped apart the entire DC multiverse.
Sí.
It's also important to stress that Goku Black is not Goku. Goku's drive and willpower can push through even the most absurd limits to potentially match higher levels of power. Zamasu took Goku's body because he's more than willing to take shortcuts. It's an entirely different mindset.
Yeah, and once he took care of that time ring, Reverse Flash had a lot more options than
La cara de
powering
Reverse.
Black. With that super speed, he could pretty easily scramble Black's insides or age him to death with a touch. Zamasu may have been a deity even without the time ring, but Goku's body is mortal with a limited range of age. Might have really screwed yourself with that one, huh?
Bueno, igual.
Goku Black was a nightmarish foe, but Thawne's experience with time travel, ridiculous levels of hacks, and frankly impossible speed gave him the means to take the win.
This fight was definitely not underwhelming.
The winner is the Reverse Flash.
Sí, tiene sentido, la verdad. Ok, next time, el 150, güey. Le tengo muchísimas ganas,
Le
tengo muchísimas ganas, güey.
show all about contestants trying to make each other laugh, but everyone trying their hardest not to. If you laugh, you're out. Watch the first episode right now by clicking the video.
Sí, me salen puros anuncios de eso. Ok.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Macho Man contra Cule.
No.
¿Qué? A huevo, van a ser Wizzy Boomstick. Oh, qué épico, güey. Qué épico. A ver, vamos a poner esto por aquí y activamos el chat. ¿Qué les pareció, banda? ¿Qué les pareció, banda? Bueno, pues eso fue todo por el video de hoy. Ay, aquí no ven esto. No ven eso. Bueno, fue todo por el video de hoy. Espero que les haya gustado. No olviden dejar su like, suscríbanse y nos vemos pues en otra video reacción al Macho Man vs Kool-Aid. Nos vemos. Chao, chao, chao.